fucking fine. Like, oh my god.
Man, you better watch all that shit now, man.
Don't do that.
You gonna get in trouble in it. Who you be talking to on here,
Get my
man?
phone.
Who you be talking to on
Get
here?
my phone.
Hey, Melanie, you ain't coming home tonight.
Get my
You coming
phone.
with me, man.
And I want to.
You coming
And I
home
want
with me.
to.
Hey, oh, God. I know you ain't texting that nigga while you in here with me.
I'm not.
Hey, number 43.
I'm not, but I seen you playing with that customer. Yes, you was.
Bro, you need
And
to
I
leave that
just want
nigga
you.
alone,
I don't want
man.
him for real.
Leave that nigga
You know I don't want him
Hey,
for real.
Hold on, why you fooling me? Walk you to the car.
You know my boyfriend picking me up.
Man,
Don't go
fuck
up
that
You
nigga,
see me right
man.
there. Don't do
Fuck
all
that
that.
nigga,
I'm gonna
man.
see you tomorrow.
I got something for
I'm
you.
gonna see you tomorrow. I'm gonna see you tomorrow.
Love you, man. Hey, how was your day at work?
It was
I
good.
miss you.
Okay, babe, don't be doing all that. Go ahead. Come on, drive off. I had a long day at work. I'm not in the mood. I'm not in the mood.
Y'all seen the video, so let's get right into it. So the video was about the work boyfriend versus the real at-home boyfriend. I think that Drewski made a similar video, if I'm not mistaken, a couple years ago. It was real popular. I can't remember the exact video, but I remember he was in the factory and remember he was flirting with a girl. Most of y'all know this video. It was real viral, him basically talking about what goes on in the factories and everything like that at the job. So this is actually a story time. I think this is my very first story time actually too. So yeah, because I didn't live the hell of a life. I'm in my mid 30s now, so I feel like I didn't live like 3, 4 lives already. So I done had numerous of jobs throughout the year. Ain't no telling how many jobs I didn't work throughout my 20s. You know how that is. In and out of jobs. Unfortunately, well, maybe fortunately, because it led me to become an entrepreneur, but I was never one of the people who had the same job for years and years. I think the longest I had a job, the same job, was 2 years. Other jobs was mostly, of course, 6 months, 3 months, maybe a year, 2 weeks. So I did definitely experienced a lot of different workplace situations. So I got 3 different stories. I'm gonna tell them quickly. Of course, I ain't gonna take up all day, but one is involving me personally, and then well, the other 2 is what I witnessed. So, off rip, which story I want to start off with first? I guess I'll start in the order that they happened. So, at the time, I was working for a cleaning company. So I was one of the people who clean schools. This is my first time ever having like a janitor job. Like I was like in my early 20s. And the job was actually cool. I ended up getting more jobs later on because a lot of people look down on the janitor job or a custodial job is what they call it. But it's actually cool because you actually don't got nobody breathing down your neck. You get to kind of work at your own pace. You get to listen to your headphones. You got freedom when you're doing this. And then some jobs is better than other. Luckily, if you get a good section to where the people not really junky and messy, it's not as bad. So can really be a straight job. So I was working there. So it was a boy, white boy Corey. Shout out to you if you're watching this. I ain't gonna say the female name because her dude her dude might be watching this, and I don't know if they still talk. They was together for years and years and years. So if he ever found out, he might still check her now. So I ain't gonna say her name. I'm just gonna say girl. I'm just gonna use girl or female or the female co-worker, them things to describe her. But make a long story short, we was there. I think I was working there. Me and White Boy Curry, we was there for like maybe 6, 7 months at the time. Then the girl, female co-worker, she was working at another school, and then I think she got into it with another girl or the manager over there, so they transferred her to our school. So she started working with us, and she was straight looking. She was thick for sure. Um, I can't even start. Y'all started describing her. You gonna know who I'm talking about. That girl, that's her. But let's just say she was straight. So The problem was this, is that she was the only female. Everybody else was male because it was me, the supervisor was a male. My other boy, Black Corey, because that's why I call him White Boy Corey, because it was a black Corey. So it was us two Corys, and then yeah, me and then her. So she was the only female. So of course, naturally, she gonna draw attention and stuff. Uh, so my section, because you know you do schools, everybody get their section. Mine was ducked off away from kind of everybody. Then my boy Black Corey, he did the floors, like he was the one that cleaned the floors and buffed the floors. So he'd be all over. But then her and White Boy Corey, they sexes was next to each other. So naturally they helped each other and stuff like that. So come find out. So she lived with her boyfriend. They was together for about at the time 3 4 years now. At the time, so he used to pick her up from work and everything like that because she had a car, but then her car broke down, so he was picking them up, and then she ended up getting her car back and driving on her own. So he make a long story short again. So somehow or the other, they ended up talking or whatever, and this was so on lunch break. We used to go smoke on lunch break with each other, go eat and everybody, but everybody would get in the car and smoke or whatever like that. So at this time, I didn't have a car because I told y'all the story about in my other video how I was a late bloomer. This was right before I got my license, so I had to actually be maybe 21 because I got my license and everything like 22, 23. So we would all be in his car, him or Black Corey car, because our car was down at the time. So we would be in the car chopping it up, smoking or whatever. So I noticed that she would start sitting in the passenger seat. Me and Black Corey would get in the back seat. And then a lot of times, okay, it'd be time to go back. So we'd go back, but they'd stay in the car a little bit longer and be talking and stuff. So I already peeped how it was going or whatever. So never forget the day. Um, I was talking to her earlier in the day because she was telling me how her boyfriend, I always tell y'all this, when you get into an argument with your girl, the legs is open and she actively searching. I told y'all this. I don't care what no female say. I know this for certain from, nah, this is not every female, of course, but majority of them. Y'all get into an argument or she get mad, she's openly displaying herself, talking to dudes, checking her inbox because she's in her feelings. So she had got into her with her boyfriend. I don't remember why. So, but she was telling us about the beginning of the shift or whatever. But he was still picking her up that day. So, no lie, end of the shift. I'm going back to the break room. Can we go to the break room to clock out, and then the door to leave out is right there. So I bend the corner, and then I see him slap her on the ass, and they tongue kissing and stuff. So I'm looking like, what the fuck? So I keep on walking down or whatever. So then she left out. So she basically kissed them goodbye, whatever, as she was leaving. And I go and look out the window, and lo and behold, she's hopping in the car with her boyfriend after just kissing him and tongue kissing him. And then after that, the flirting kept going on and on throughout work up until I just so happened to call off this day. Always when you call off some stuff happen. From what I'm told, and people like to lie and over exaggerate stuff. Boyfriend found out, ended up coming up there and causing the scene and checking the dude because her boyfriend, this dude was huge. He probably like 6'4", 280, and then white boy Corey is like 5'5", literally skinny as can be. So that confrontation ended up happening because I don't know Corey because he was one of them crazy white boys. So I believe he was texting her phone and are you coming to work, like overstepping his boundaries, and basically probably her boyfriend probably seen her phone or found out or whatever, and it was up from there. So him doing too much. So that was the first situation that I ended up seeing of the whole workplace boyfriend girlfriend type of thing. And when you get into an argument with your girl and she go to work around all of these men, be careful. That's the first situation. I'm warning y'all. Second situation, let's talk about my situation. Again, so I got lucky. I was in orientation with this girl, bad, like she was mixed. she was fine. Like, you know, and everybody in the store wondered, like, she was one of them type to where she had a dude at the job stalking her. Like, he would just stand by her all day and people would be looking like, what's going on? He was socially awkward. He was a little off, of course, but he would never say nothing to her. And she always be like, this is, you know, like weird or whatever. Like, she'll say hi to him, but like he would just stand there and not even say nothing, but just stand around her. Like she was that bad. So I got lucky because this was a rare orientation where it was just me and her. We was the only two in orientation. You know, orientation is usually a bunch of people. So right off it being me and her, we got to connect off rip. And she started talking to me first and asking me questions and stuff like that. So we ended up chopping it up and stuff like that. So fast forward because I was working, this was actually at Lowe's. I was working outside garden. She was a cashier. So I didn't see her for a while. One time I seen her as she was leaving and I was coming because we was working different times and everything like that. I think she was working morning shift. I was working afternoon shift. So I rarely seen her. But one day I ended up seeing her in the break room. She was on break. I ended up going on break. So I ended up like, you know, how the job going, how you been and everything like that. Like I rarely get to see you or whatever. So she was telling me like, you know, it's cool and everything like that. And then that was it. I had sat down and then she was coming off break, so she had left off break. So lo and behold, she ended up coming back in the break room as I'm sitting down eating my chips, like, oh, here go my number since I never see you. So I'm like, oh shit, bad it up. So ended up texting her or whatever, everything cool. So she somehow or the other she ended up telling me that she got a boyfriend that she lives with and they high school sweethearts. Actually, they was together since high school. And we was like early 20s. I think she was like 2021 at the time. So you know, they have been together for a couple of years. So and he had money. Well, he came from a family that had money. Like he owned his own house because I think his stepdad worked on houses or owned houses or somehow or the other, he was 20 and he had his own house and his own truck. So he was ahead of the game for real. So of course that's how he had him a bad bitch like she was. Now you seeing even early then how stuff go. So me at the time, I had just got my first apartment because I was one of the rare people who I had my first apartment before I had my first car. So it's just how it ended up playing out. And my apartment was literally down the street from the job. So, but I didn't have a car at the time, but I had my own place. But anyway, I'm talking to her. So she ended up telling me how she you got a boyfriend or whatever. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like, okay, we just cool. I ain't gonna overstep my boundaries. But lo and behold, what did I tell y'all? They start getting into arguments, getting into it, and she venting to me, telling me about their arguments, telling me about what's going on with them. And then sure enough, time goes on, cause it was a slow, cause they was still working it out, and she wanted to work it out with him. She did love him, she said, and all of that. So I was just playing my part on the back burner. I talked to her at work, talked to her here and there and stuff like that. So couple months in, this like July, August, middle of the summer, they ended up like breaking up for real. Like he ended up breaking up with her and then going to Canada because he had like a cabin in Canada. So when they ended up breaking it up, what did I tell you? When a female in her feelings and the relationship bad, she's looking for your replacement. Them legs is opening up. I'm telling you, females is not going through breakups and going through arguments and just taking it and thinking, oh, we're going to get back together later. No, they're thinking who's next in line. So, sure enough, um, we had ended up meeting up outside of work, smoking the first couple times. Nothing happened. We had just ended up when we got off of work. She came over to my house. We smoked in the car. And then we ended up smoking in my apartment, and it kind of gradually progressed up until like to when he actually went on that vacation to Canada. And I know she probably was thinking he went with a girl because they would always go together. But he said he needed to go to get space or whatever, and to give her time to move out or whatever. So of course she was in her feelings. So while he was out, he was gone for the weekend. Of course, she ended up coming over my crib, And I never forget my boy. Shout out to him. He had ended up putting me on the Jack Daniels Honey Tennessee. If you never had it, I know y'all thinking, ugh. And I don't like nothing honey at all, but it's like a honey pack. I don't know what it is about honey. I'm actually just thinking about this now. It's like a honey pack. It's something about honey that that had you ready to go. So, and I was definitely ready to go. So we had our rendezvous over the weekend. What a time to be alive. Because that was my first bad bitch, my first beautiful woman. Like my exes, no, the white girl I had, she was bad too. She was bad. But this one was more so my type or whatever. Like I say, this is the first girl that I talked to that was like literally my type all around. So that ended up happening. He ended up coming back, but she still wanted to work out with him because she really did love him. So she was like, I don't want you to think that this more than what it is. And I'm just in my feelings and blah blah blah. And I still wanted to work out with my boyfriend. So I'm like, okay. So she tried to work it out with him, and he didn't want to get back together. He had really moved on. So then that's when me and her started talking, and she had ended up temporarily moving in for like a couple weeks, but then we didn't end up working because I was the rebound. And of course, I'm in my early 20s. I don't know what a rebound person is. So I didn't know that. I was just happy that I had her. Like, damn, I got a girl that I actually want. So, and of course, I was insecure, making things moving too fast. It was my fault for real. Looking, that was the one relationship that I can honestly say was my fault. But then again, I don't like when people use the young excuse, but it is an excuse sometimes because you don't know what you don't know. And like I said, I was like 21 at the time. So I ended up screwing that up and kind of driving her away. And that's how we ended up ended. Then I ended up losing the job because I was 10th at the time. And I was supposed to get hired in because I actually stayed past the season because I was seasonal. But what had ended up happening? I think, if I'm not mistaken, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I gotta keep it 100. I think I ended up calling off because she had work, and you know how that go when you young. So yeah, I think she was off work, and then I had to work, so I ended up calling off so we can chill. And I think my boy and his girl ended up coming over, and we ended up having like smoking and listening to music, one of them type of situations. And of course, we know what happened afterwards. But I ended up getting fired, basically, well, let go because I was already temp, but they was trying to hire me in. But since I had called off, they let me go basically because they was like, well, you already know you supposed to have been let go. We kept you longer than we should. And then you calling off like you don't have no room for error, basically. So I ended up losing the job, and she ended up still working there. I'm not sure for how much longer. And that's how that situation went. But that's also a lesson is that you see how the situation goes with the co-workers, because this is the thing, the co-workers, you see them too much, you get comfortable with them. And the number one thing with women is being comfortable. Like I always say, this is that more so than looks, we talk about looks and money. All of that does matter in terms of attraction, but if you can get a girl comfortable, that's how her legs open. That's why it's always dangerous when a woman has a female, or when a woman has a male friend. Even though most of the time she's not attracted at all to her male friend, so that's why it kind of don't work. But when she's vulnerable and she comfortable with him, and then she know that, okay, this not really counting as a body because this is my long-term friend. And then she know he not gonna say nothing because their friends or ruin the friendship. Like it's easy to just do it one time and then go back to things being normal. I done been in a situation like that before. That's another story time for another day. So you got to be careful, and that's the main reason why coworkers cheat with each other and stuff end up happening because you spend so much time with the person and get to know the person so much. You know how many people ended up talking as co-workers and ended up progressing and stuff like that. And that's why I always say, if you want to have a girlfriend, you gotta make her work for you. That was the smartest thing somebody that told me. Like, you need to have a business and have your girl work for you. You can't send your girl out here into the workforce where she's around other dudes all day. And I know it's not black and white. There's a lot of women who do go into work who don't cheat, but they get hit on all of the time. Like, it's a big risk that you have to take. We know that this is common, women messing with their coworkers. So That's why it's dangerous. Like with women working and going to the workforce, it creates a lot of liability. The third story, I'm gonna make this one quick because it's four stories. So I'm just thinking about this one off the top of my head. But I'll say the other story for the next story time when I tell you all about the best friend and having female friends situation. But so I was working at another Lowe's. So it was this African cashier. She was married. She had a rock on her finger. Like you could tell she had one of them rich Africans or something, but she had a rock on her finger and like two, three kids. But when I say her body was like she had that African ass, like I'm talking about that boy was poking out, poking out. But her face was hit. That was the only thing that a lot of people, that's why I was like, ugh, but the dude was like, yeah, I hit that from the back for sure. And lo and behold, she was choosing at the job. Anybody could have had her. I should have had her, but I would have my focus on another girl there that I wanted to talk to who happened to have a boyfriend too. Oh, that's the other story. Dang, actually, this is both the same job and like the same time frame. Actually, both stories actually ties together now that I think about it. But African girl, yeah, married and everything. And she used to always flirt with dudes. Like she like perfect because now she came up to me and showing me this restaurant she wanted to go to. Some don't this look good? We should go there. And I'm in my head like, ain't you married? And this is why I hate being young. You can't overcome being young. Because me now, I would have been hitting that night. Oh, this where you want to go? Oh, yeah, we could go off to eat. Yeah, I would have hit. But me being young, I was stuck on she married. Like this is the wrong thing to do. Basically, what I'm saying. Like I didn't pursue her to go because I'm like, you married me now with that ass poking out and her choosing. I would have had to take one. I would have had to do it for the team. But that was used to do. And then one of the other coworkers, I believe, hit it. It was a rumor. He didn't want nobody to know because he was trying to talk to another girl just like me. But it was it was a bunch of the cashiers, at Home Depot, Lowe's, different customer, Walmart, some of them be bad. So it was another cashier I was trying to talk to. And then, oh boy, he ended up actually marrying and having a kid with this other cashier. No, she wasn't a cashier. She worked, I forgot what department. She worked in paint or hardware or something like that. She worked in the actual department, but they ended up getting together and having a relationship after, but he wanted her because she was beautiful. She had one of the most beautiful faces I ever seen. She was real skinny though, and then I worked with her before at the previous Lowe's, which was funny enough. And we used to always flirt with each other and go back and forth. She would flirt with me and we would tease each other to where I could have talked to her, which I probably could have because she actually ended up being a good girl. But, she had a pretty face and she wore braces before at the previous job. And then by the time at this job, she took them off. So she had perfect teeth and everything. So he really wanted her, but I think he ended up messing with the African on the low, but he wanted to keep it on the low so the other girl didn't find out from what I hear from everybody and stuff like that. So, um, so yeah, I think that's what ended up happening with her, but I never pursued because I was trying to pursue this other girl who just so happened to have a boyfriend, but she was choosing. She would literally seek me out at work. I don't know how she used to find me. That's why I said women is crazy. You be careful out here. They always talk about men being stalkers. No, when a woman want to stalk you, it's over. But I swear I'll literally be on the opposite side of the building, and then she would just pop. You ever just have somebody to pop up on you? You just working, you turn your head, and they there. Hey, like where the hell did you come from? She used to do that all of the time. To where it's like, yeah, I started to get scared. But then I was in the same situation because she had two kids with her. She basically had a baby daddy that she lived with and had two kids, and then she would always be back and forth with her baby daddy. Like 1 minute they cool and they working it out, the next, because she did say he was a huge cheater. So we know how that goes. She used to always say he loved cheating. He always cheating. So of course that caused her to want to flirt with the dudes at the job and stuff like that. But I never really pursued it or went the extra mile because I was young. The young me would have had her too. So, these are just perfect examples of situations to where it's hard when your girl have to work, especially if you one of them dudes where your girl work and you don't, and she got the power. That'll make her cheat even more because she probably telling these dudes at work that you a bum. And y'all don't be thinking like, oh, my girl going to work, she paying the bills. Yeah, it's the dude telling her, yeah, you need to leave that bum nigga. So, in conclusion, it's hard having a girlfriend. I'm sorry, it's hard. And I know women gonna say it's hard having a boyfriend too. Y'all can make your own video. We talking about this is me. I'm a man, so I'm talking about women right now. So, yeah, you gotta be careful. Your girl got a job. There's a big chance she might be flirting or messing with the coworkers. It's just something you kind of have to deal with in society now. And the only way to kind of counteract it is either to be the provider, like you have a stay-at-home wife or stay-at-home mom. You know, that still do happen sometimes. That way your girl can't get out and mingle with coworkers, or you have to have a business and have your girl or your wife work for you, or your woman or your girl have to be an entrepreneur to where she's not, or she have to work in the field to where she's not around men all of the time. Basically, like certain jobs like nursing homes, even though them have some men too, there's stories about that, but it's mostly women. Like she had to have a job where it's not dudes all around. Like if she working at a factory, customer service, like I said, jobs where there's guaranteed to be males, even off some certain office jobs, you got to be careful and watch out. And I'm out.